Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, this morning has been so chaotic, but so fun. And I'm so glad you're here, whether you are on the actual webinar or if you're tuning in Facebook way. Again, we really appreciate all of your patience. It's crazy, but you guys get to at least say you broke our internet. So that is something to be proud of. And I think that just goes to show how awesome training camp is, not only because we have fun sessions, of course, that we're going over, but because you guys are really here to show up and really learn a lot. And so this session is always one that I really love to go over, especially if this is the first time you're really hearing about Travefy. And if you tuned into our keynote and that was the first introduction you've had to the company, well, we're going to take it a step back. We're actually going to take it step by step, dive into a lot of the different features in Travefy. And then for my friends who use Travefy, I always think this is a nice refresh session, especially right before we dive into so many topics throughout this week, just to really lay that foundation and to really dive into all of these other topics we have going on. But I'm so excited to see everyone. I'm taking a look on here. Hello, hello. I'm taking a look at the chat. I see someone from New York City. Hello, Charlotte, North Carolina. I was at your airport for a quick second, but Charlotte's beautiful Sweden. Oh my gosh. Oh, Emily, you say you are from Iowa. We are from Nebraska. Football season. Ooh, that might be a little bit of a different story if I see Iowa, but all jokes. Oh, but amazing. Salt Lake City. We are actually going to Salt Lake City here very soon for some conferences. Oh my gosh, originally from Nebraska. Emily, why'd you go to Iowa? But go Huskers. Hello, hello. I'm so excited to see everyone. This is always the favorite part for me. I get to see where everyone is from. But without further ado, let's get on into it. Keep putting chats in, though. We have Eric on our team who is helping answer everything as quickly as he can. And thank you for all of your patience if you've been using our support chat. We have a lot of questions that we're getting to, so I promise we'll get to your chat if you left something in there, but thank you for being here. So let's go ahead. What are we talking about today? What are we doing? What is the session even going to be a part of? Well, let me go back to the first slide. We are diving into 5 ways you can scale and grow your business with Travefy. Now, this is where I dive into each, again, tool of Travefy, and we can see how it really works for you as an advisor in growing and scaling. Now, a couple of things. We are recording this session. We, of course, are on Facebook Live as well. So hello to my Facebook viewers. But we also are doing live Q&A. So we have folks that are looking at the Facebook Live. We have Eric back here who's on the Zoom with us right now. So put it in that Q&A panel. Sometimes the chat can get a little bit crazy. So put it in the Q&A and we can see it just a little bit easier. And then also, speaking of Facebook, we have an awesome Facebook group that you can join and be a part of. That's just where the party keeps on going. And it's a really great place to see other examples. So for instance, if you're someone who wants to learn more about websites, about marketing, put a post in there. I know several people who have great websites that always put their links in so you can check it out. But something you might have heard from the last session is we really want to include everyone, no matter if you're a newer advisor to this industry, or even if you are a veteran. We are doing different programs. And so one, if you missed the keynote for whatever reason, go ahead, look at the recording. That's going to be out here soon. But we're also doing some new agent series because we want to make sure that, again, everyone has the foundational knowledge to learn about Travefy and then really grow with the tools. And so the first one that we are doing is the website builder. That's the session, I believe, right after this one. And so we're going to take it step by step. We're going to start with the basics and take it nice and slow. And you can see throughout the week every other topic we're doing. Also, join us for happy hour. This is something that we do all the time, so I know a lot of you have joined us in the past. This is so fun because it's trivia related. It's where we can kick back, relax, cheers to a really fun week of just learning. And so join us. We always do prizes, and I think it's a pretty good time. But let me know in the chat if you were a winner. Now, if you aren't good at trivia, myself included, we also have a social contest going on. So this is where if you post a picture on either Instagram or Facebook, or heck, you can do both with the hashtag TravefyTC25, TC stands for training camp, you're entered in and you're going to get a swag pack. We didn't have too much time to talk about what that swag pack includes, but it's going to be a Travefy branded shirt as well as a quarter zip. And who knows, I might throw in some other goodies too. We have a lot of goodies around this office. So stay tuned for everything, and we'll announce the winners at the end of training camp. But next session coming up, let's see if I was right. It is about setting up your website. Again, that new agent series. So for some of my friends who are current users and you've been wanting to learn about the website, join it. You don't have to be a new advisor. But also for my new friends who are just new to the industry in general, join this session. It's a really great one. But all right, enough talking. Let's actually dive right on in to some more slides. So I know you guys are super excited to see another slide deck being thrown at you, but I think this is probably the easiest way to try and really conceptualize what is Travefy, how does it work? And I've been doing this method for a bit where we talk a little bit here, we'll dive into Travefy, we'll demo a few of what I've talked about, and we'll jump back into slides. And of course, again, I'm going to remind you, for those of you who are just joining in right now, we have Eric in the back who's helping answer questions. And if you are on Facebook, we also have some team members who are answering questions in there as well. So let's talk about Travefy. What's our agenda? What are we talking about today? Well, like I mentioned, we are talking about the 5 ways to scale and grow. And to do that, we need to take a step back and look at marketing. How do we collect data? How do we use the client management tools in Travefy? We already talked about a lot of the fun upcoming CRM features coming our way. Supplier invoicing is already out there. But how do we use that system right now to grow? We'll also talk about sales and trip management as well. And of course, we should have time for Q&A at the end. So keep on putting those questions in there, everyone. But now some of you might be familiar with this slide, and I'll look at the chat to see if anyone happens to recognize this slide that I think is pretty famous. But this is where we actually can take a step back and see, how does each tool in Travefy relate to one another in a workflow sense? Well, one, we always start off in marketing. How do we even get clients in the door? So if I'm a new advisor, I need clients, I need travelers. And the way we have to do that is through marketing. And I know some of you absolutely love marketing, right? And then some of you actually probably despise this part the most. You're focused on wanting to get people out the door on their trip. But for me, I love marketing. Gilbert, I see landing pages, heart eye emoji. This is a part where you can really customize it to your liking, and it's where you're putting yourself out there. And I think that's the part that a lot of folks, including myself sometimes, don't love to do. We don't love to put ourselves out there. It feels a little salesy, but I'm going to show you how we can make this process really easy in Travefy. The next part, how do we then get client information? Marketing is great to get out there to let people know about my branding, to let people know about my services, but it falls a little short if I don't get leads through that channel. And so we are going to talk about forms, how we can collect data securely, and how it all organizes itself in client management. So this is a bit about the CRM. This is where you can currently charge for planning fees. We also have that supplier invoicing. We also have automations, tasks, where you can upload your clients into the CRM. But the client management system in Travefy communicates with every aspect of the platform, including content. Once we have leads in our CRM, what's next? Well, it's about building that proposal, building the itinerary, getting them on their way. So we want to make sure that part of the process quick and easy. And I say this all the time, even though we're looking at ways to really shorten the length of time it takes for each aspect, we don't want to lose any of the quality. We'll also talk about proposals. That's where you are creating those quotes, you're standing out, you're getting people's information, and you're really learning how you and your clients interact and what they want to do. Stephanie has brought this up to a few people before, but she received a proposal that she cried about. And sorry, Stephanie, if I'm embarrassing you. She is going on a really cool trip here in the summer, and she received a proposal back and she shed a tear. So this is where you can make this piece really memorable for your travelers, for your clients. And then last but not least, the itineraries. This is really where Travefy was started, what we are known for. And is really where we want to make sure that even throughout every piece of this workflow, your clients have a great memory of the process with you. So from marketing all the way to the end when they are done with their trip, they feel well taken care of and felt like it was a really personalized experience. And so with all of this talking, we're going to dive into a few tips and tricks that I have. But do know we have an amazing support team to help you throughout. Because I know, for one, training camp can be overwhelming. You can soak in a lot of information and you'll realize, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that one thing. I need help with this. I need to set up a one-on-one training. I need to set up a webinar. We have all of these resources available to you and they're free. We want to make sure you're getting value out of the system. So now, are you ready? Let's start with marketing. Everyone's favorite, right? That is where we are talking about websites and landing pages. And every feature, by the way, that I'm talking about today is included in your Travefy subscription. And so websites and landing pages, what is the difference? Are they the same thing? You hear the terminology thrown around a bit. Think of a website as just one page, or let me back up. Think of this here, and hopefully you can see my mouse moving, everyone. This is one page. You have one page that you're on. That is a landing page. If you have maybe two landing pages and you connect them together, maybe one's my home page, the other page is an about page, that's when you can start to consider it a website. So a landing page, think of it as singular. A website, think of it as multiple if that helps you out. But all right, let's come up with some scenarios. What can you use this tool for? Well, if you're a new advisor or really you have just been putting this off, you've been in the travel industry for a while, but you know you need that agency website, you can use that page builder to create just that. You can also use it for things like destination weddings. You can do both of these using the same tool. Or if you have a website already, that's totally okay. You can still use the page builder for so many things like destination weddings, celebration travel, groups. I know is the really big one that's happening right now. Everyone needs to do groups. That's where the money is. We hear it all the time. So do it for your groups. Put all of the information your clients need into one spot so it's personalized to you and personalized to them, and it's branded to your company. Other things to mention, cruises. I think a lot of us do cruises, so that's always a really fun one to see. Now, I'm going to pause this really quick. This is a short video, but you can include so much, including forms, your itineraries that you create in Travefy. You can also include your Calendly calendar. This is a great tool that we use to schedule our trainings, our demos. So if you've been looking for a calendar system, I'm not being paid to talk about them. Check them out. I know they have a free version, at least last time I looked. But you can also include, like I said, your branding. Put your logos in, put your colors in, have it match so it all looks cohesive and professional. And so I'm going to play this video. And I know hopefully you guys can see this okay. This is a short preview of what a form would look like. So you can put your booking form on there. That's how we get that lead information if you remember from that earlier slide. But I also always recommend try putting an itinerary sample onto your website, onto your landing page, because the itineraries speak for themselves. They're interactive. They look 10 times better than a standard PDF that you can't really interact with as a traveler. So if you scroll through the photos, if you include videos, if you include links, you can do that. But it gives them a little taste of what type of content you can create for them. And like I said, put down any and all information that you want. You don't have to put nearly as much information as I do, but you could also put a lot more if you would like as well. So why do advisors love pages? And I gotta say, Gilbert, I know he loves his landing pages. If I have time, he put his link to one of his in there, so I'll try and show it. But advisors love pages because one, it makes you look good. It just helps make you look professional. Tammy here, I won't read her entire thing. I'll let you read it for yourself, but she has an amazing How I Travefy video on our YouTube channel, along with so many other amazing users. So if you don't want to hear from me, you don't want to hear from Stephanie, take a look at our YouTube channel. You can hear from your peers on how and why they love using Travefy tools. So like I mentioned, we're going to stick in slides, but we're also going to dip our toes into the platform. So if this is your first time seeing Travefy, I have the honor of showing you around. This is our trip page. And so the first thing that I'm going to do when it comes to that marketing tool that I've been talking about for the past, 5 minutes, is we're going to go up into our Pages button up within our navigation bar. I'm clicking Pages, and oop, how embarrassing. Of course, it loves to do this when I'm trying to show people things. But this here is an example of what a homepage could look like. This here just tells a little bit about the company. It talks about specialties as well as upcoming deals. Now, something that I'm going to do with you guys is show you how you can incorporate an itinerary onto a landing page. So how do we want to go about that? Well, first of all, I have a million different pages. That's something to mention. You do not have limits on how much content you can create. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this all-inclusive template right here. I'm going to click Save. This is actually a template within Marketplace that you can customize for your own business. So if you like to do all-inclusives, take a look. I'll also try and make sure I have enough time to show you how to go about this. But I'm going to add in, let's say, an itinerary right here. So whenever you see something you want to edit in this website builder, just know you click onto it and the menu to edit it will show up on the right-hand side. Now, I'm going to get into the weeds just a little bit, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure you know that you just really need to know what buttons to click, but it doesn't require coding knowledge. It doesn't really require any previous design knowledge. And you can have a lot of fun with this as long as you aren't afraid to get in here and just experiment, if you will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Add Card. And you'll see where this card is added. It's right there at the bottom. And I'm just going to call this, actually, I'm not going to call it anything. I'm just going to change it up. We're going to cheat a little bit, if you will. If you know me, I always say start from the top, work your way towards the bottom. However, when we want to import a Travefy itinerary that I've already created, I can select Import from Travefy. I'm selecting Itinerary. And from here, it's going to show you all of your different itineraries that you can pull in. So I'm just going to go for this Eshkret Arte. This is an all-inclusive that I have been dreaming about going to. It's far from being reality for me right now, but I'm going to click Add. I'm going to click into a few of these different things. Now, as you can see, one thing that I love about this website builder is you can see the edits being made live. Some website builders don't do that. So I'm going to say Eshkret Arte. You could put a price in here. We'll say starting at $1,000 a night. Yes, I did look at this website earlier and it breaks my heart that it is $1,000 a night. And I'm just going to put in a little bit of description. Now, this is something that if you were listening in on our keynote, use ChatGPT, use an AI source to help create a summary if you just need to move quick, or you can spend a little bit of time just putting in maybe 2-3 sentences about that destination, about that resort. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click Save. Again, I'm just going to say it right here. Don't feel like you need to memorize every step that I'm doing. That's not the point of this, but just knowing what is possible in Travefy, I think is really important. So whether you do all-inclusives, cruises, FITs, river cruises, you name it, you can put it together really nicely in these landing pages. Now, what I just did is I previewed it. You can see what it looks like on both mobile as well as desktop. And when I scroll down, I'm going to click View Itinerary. And right here, we can take a little sample or a look, if you will, at this itinerary. So they can go through those photos. They can scroll through. If you include any videos, you can put that in there as well. And the nice thing is that they have a contact button up at the top automatically put in there that they can reach out to you directly. This goes right to your email inbox. And from there, you can work your client workflow. So let's click out of there. That's a little bit about landing pages. And let's move on to the next step, data collection. So again, with marketing, we want to make sure that we can actually get leads and information from those leads easily. Otherwise, marketing, it's a little bit pointless. So how do we do that in Travefy? Well, we have some amazing client forms and passport upload options available for you. So we have custom client forms. We also make sure that we have all of our forms PCI compliant. We go through a yearly audit of all of this to make sure that we have the top-notch security for both your client's information and your own personal protection to fight those chargebacks. You can do file uploads, which include those passports. So if you need to ask for passports, driver's license, waivers, you name it, they can upload it easily into the form. You can also put e-signatures, of course, on any form. We've had that since forever, but just thought I'd mention that. And also, too, you can put response limits on these. So if you are working a group and you maybe have only 10 spots available, you can have it close after you've received 10 responses. That's totally up to you. That way you don't have to have the awkward conversation with the 11th responder saying, hey, you were the last one to fill this out, so sorry. We'll try and get you on another trip. So use that how you will. Now, again, I like to get in the weeds just a little bit, but I also love to talk about smart fields when it comes to forms. This is a feature that's incorporated in forms that is going to help make sure you don't have to manually enter anything in. So as long as it's a smart field, it automatically creates a contact based off of that information someone would put in. And it also will overwrite and update information. So if I have a client, let's say that her name is Jane Doe, and she recently got married and her name is now changed to Jane Smith. Great, she fills out my typical booking form, her last name changes. Because we have smart fields on these forms, our system automatically recognizes, oh, a lot of this information matches Jane. Do you want to update this automatically? We detect a name change. You can go ahead and say, yep, that looks good, and be on your way versus having, 2-3 tabs open, looking at the responses, looking at your contact CRM and Travefy and trying to enter information incorrectly. I've been there, and maybe you've done this, but I will not automatically, but I'll probably misspell something if I were to do it that way. Versus, again, having smart fields just to help you out. So now let's take a quick look at how those forms work. And apologies, what I'm going to do really, really quick is I'm going to actually sign out of one of my accounts on my other window here. And I'm going to sign into one that's just a little bit more organized for you guys to see. So hold on tight, pretend I'm playing some elevator music right now, and I'll show you really quick everything that we're going to take a look at today. Now, hopefully you can see this, but this is my much more polished looking account. What I'm going to do first is we're going to go into our library. Our library, think of this as your personal database of resources. So if you're going to use a resource again and again, say maybe you like to sell a property, you've had a great experience with it, put it in your library so you don't have to recreate it from scratch each time. Same thing for forms. If you want to create a booking form for yourself, you can do that right within here to use again and again for all of your clients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select new library item. And from here, you can hopefully see this okay, but this is a list of resources you can build directly into your library. So for me, we're going to go ahead, let's click a form together, and it's completely blank as you can see. Now, if you want to save time, because again, we're talking about how do we grow, how do we scale, how do we save time with these tasks that are taking up too much of my day, and I feel like I'm at capacity and there's no way that I can get new clients because I'm just barely treading water. Here's how. Templates. I have actually a whole session where I'm going to talk about templates, but you can find 4 of them really easily right in here just by selecting Create from Template. I'm going to select Credit Card Authorization. And if anyone is following along for any of my new friends to Travefy, if that's grayed out for you, you do want your 2-factor authentication enabled in your account settings. Otherwise, you won't have access to this, and that's just a security measure because we are asking for really sensitive information. Now, as you can see, we have 4 questions right here. I'm going to click into the pencil icon. Every time I talk about a card authorization, I want to point out that we can collect the 3-digit code on the back of someone's card. It just is not doing it by default. So if you need that 3-digit code, select yes and click that check mark to save everything. But let's add in another question. We're doing okay on time. So I'll select Add New. I'm going to select Question right here. And the next thing I'm going to say is please upload your passport. Pretty simple. To the right of where we enter in our question is where we decide what type of answer are we looking for from a client. Do we want them to choose from multiple answers? Probably not for a passport. Do we want them to upload something? Yes, that's where we'll select Contact Document Upload. Now, from here, you can add in additional text or instructions if you find that would be most helpful for your clients. But for me, I'm not going to require it. I'm going to click that check mark and I'm pretty much good to go. Now, what your clients will see on their end is a way that they can either just choose a photo from their photo library on whatever device that they're using to fill this form out that they can choose from. Or what I actually love is if they're filling it out on their phone, they actually can select the camera option and just snap a picture. I always joke about this, but I probably wouldn't even know how to scan a document these days with a printer. I hate printers. So if you want to make it easy for your clients to get documents to you that you need and to do it securely, do a document upload question within the form. You can have multiple of these types of questions as well. So now we're all good. At the bottom, you'll see where you can put in your electronic signature as well as any terms and conditions. And when you're ready to send that out, click that share button. And you have two different ways that you can share this. You can email it directly, which I typically recommend if you have a specific client in mind. This way we can actually track it a bit better for you. We can see if they've opened it, viewed it, you name it. But you can also share it via a link. Now, if you're doing it via a link, you do want to make sure that, one, and again, I'm checking my time just to make sure I'm not yapping too much. But if you click into the pencil icon right here, set default authorization information, put in some general information in here, and once done, you can share that through a link. Again, a little in the weeds, but if you have any questions on that, you can always reach out to our team. We have a little handy live chat button right within there. But again, give us a little patience this week. We are a little busy. But all right, that's a bit about forms. That's how you share it out if you need to preview it. Mobile and desktop view is right there for you. So let's talk about how do we get responses. Oop, gosh, we have just so many different slides right here. Apologies on that. Here we go. We have two slide decks. We're on the right one now. How do we organize and store everything? As you just saw, I can do a little bit better on how I'm staying organized on my computer. I have like 10 windows open on one monitor, a million slide decks, as you can see just on this one. But CRM is here to help, and that is why I love that we are doing so many releases when it comes to the CRM. So if you tuned into the keynote, we saw that we have supplier invoicing already out there. We're also getting an email integration, and we're also getting just a complete refresh of what the contacts area is going to look like for us. But what does it do currently for us? Well, it can track any sent itineraries and proposals from Travefy system. It also will do that for your forms as well as viewing statuses. Not only that, this is where you can securely store those important documents like those passports, waivers, driver's licenses, you name it. Now, one thing that I always want to talk about in here as well is automations. Again, when we think about how can I grow my client base, even though I feel like I'm up to my neck in how much work I'm already doing, how can I save time in my work so I can add another client to my portfolio? Well, that is where automations come in. And I know it can be that scary thing where you have to do it, you need to learn about it. Automations is going to send things out on your behalf in Travefy. It's not super scary. It's just a matter of, again, getting into the system, trying it out, get on a training with us, you name it. But what can it do? It can send out trip invites for you automatically. It'll tell you about task reminders that are coming up that you set for yourself. So if you're a to-do list person, you're going to love tasks. We can also automate forms, those planning fees, credit card authorization forms, chat messages. This can all help make sure that your client feels really well cared for, but it's also not taking away any of your time, really. But why do advisors love automations? Kim here also did a great How I Travefy video on how she uses automations in her agency, but it allows her, again, to save time. She has a full-time job, or if you're doing this as a part-time job, this can help significantly. So let's take a look at everything. I'm going to go right back in here. And oh boy, here we go. This is where I've got to remember where everything is. This is the right tab for me. I'm going to go exit this preview. Again, we were in our library beforehand when we put together that form. And I'm going to go down to this complete booking form. Whenever you receive a response from Travefy, if someone filled out your form online or you emailed it to them and they filled it out, you're going to receive an email notification letting you know that you have a response. It'll take you back to that form, and in the responses area, you're going to see something like this. Now, I'm going to click into that drop-down arrow, and I can get just a really short overview of the information that they put in. I'm taking a quick skim through. If I don't recognize this client's information, I'll go ahead, assign it to a contact. I can assign it to an existing one. So if I happen to recognize this person, I'm like, oh, their last name changed. I can assign it and have it update a contact. Or for me today, I'm going to assign this to a brand new profile. So we'll select assign to new contact. I'm just going to confirm, create and assign. Great, we have a contact profile assigned to this response. I'm clicking into that name right here. And again, that is the beauty of having smart fields and sending forms out through Travefy. Now, as you can see, we have Cynthia Smith right here. I have their email, their phone, information I didn't have to type in manually and make any mistakes on. And if I go to the forms area, I can see the responses within here as well. I can download the PDF. I had a passport document upload in here, and this is where I can find those files that they uploaded. And again, it's encrypted. And if you have questions on all of the security measures that we do at Travefy, send us a chat, email us. We'd be happy to help out with any questions that you have. Now, one question that we were actually getting quite a bit of in the last session is how do you put your contacts in here if you aren't sending forms out? Maybe you use a different system right now, but you want to store information in Travefy. We have a handy little import contact button. Right here, you can download a template file. You can upload your sheet if you are really good at sheets, which I know most of you are, but you can upload it right within here. And that bulk imports all of your contacts that you already have right into the system. Now, let's add in really quick an automation. I'm going to click into this task area, if you can see that here, and I'll zoom in for you guys so you can see that as best you can. And I'm going to select add. We can add in an automation, a task, or a task list. What I'm doing first is I'll just do an automation for right now. And what do we want to do here? Well, in a contact, you can assign automations to contacts and trips. Again, gets into the weeds, but automations are going to be your best friend when you are wanting to save time. So I want to automate a invoice. This is for my planning fee. What I'm going to do here is I can put in an amount. We'll say $100. Fee description, planning fee. We want this to be due 30 days after it's sent. I can include a memo, but the biggest thing is just putting in your due date. Okay, I want this to send to my client on Friday. Nothing better than getting an invoice on Friday. And I want this to send to them at 10 a.m. We'll click done. And it's as easy as that. That automation is already working. It's going to send out that planning fee invoice on April 11th, 10 a.m. Just going to send it out. I don't have to be present for it to do that. And again, automations, those tasks are going to just help you stay on track. Even when you are feeling really overwhelmed with all of your clients' needs, these can help make sure that they feel really well cared for. So now, oh gosh, guys, I promise this will probably be the last time that I mess up my slide deck, but sales, whew. Maybe you guys can start placing bets on if Bonnie's going to go back to that other slide deck. But when it comes to sales, this is where we talk about proposals in Travefy. So how do we make it easy for you to get content, create a proposal, and send that off to your client quickly? One of the key things that we continue to hear about is you need to make sure that from the moment they say, here's what I want to do, or here's a little bit of an idea of what I want to do, that you can get a quote to them really quick. So there's less time for them to wonder, is this the right choice? Should I be doing this? Get it to them, get them booked, get them down and secured. And so we have a ton of different supplier integrations. We have a lot of free destination guides available for you. Flight tracking, something huge, especially with the chaos of the airports these days, that'll update your itineraries automatically with any update changes. We have photo video import to make sure your itineraries look stunning and professional. But we also have some great CRM back office integrations to help make sure you don't have to double up your work. And we have a global hotel database to pull in properties. Again, how are we saving time? These are some of the great ways you can do that when you're pulling in quotes, building itineraries. Another great thing, I mentioned Marketplace at the beginning when we talked about marketing pages, landing pages, that all-inclusive one is in here. But this is where you can find all sorts of content where if you're feeling overwhelmed with getting started, if you're a new advisor, if you, again, have been in the industry for a while and you are just needing more time in your day, go to Marketplace, you'll find sample itineraries, hotel resort information. I'm going to just scroll through all of these because anything you can create in Travefy, you're going to find it in Marketplace. All of the content in here is created by other Travefy users. So think of it as like a free Etsy store, and you know that the content is really professional because it's made from your peers. You can also share whatever content that you make out into Marketplace as well. So that just speaks to how great your community is. Another fun thing, we talked about AI already this morning. David stole my thunder, but Smart Import, for my friends who use Travefy currently, I know this is a favorite tool of yours. This is where you can bring in content from pretty much anywhere at this point. You can upload a PDF. Our system scans through it, reads it, and builds the itinerary out for you. You can also just copy and paste information in here as well. But this is such a great time-saving tool. And the last time we ran these numbers, which was, I want to say like 2 or 3 months ago, it looked like 17,000 hours of work had been saved. So I wouldn't be surprised if this number has quadrupled. Now, another feature that I can't help but talk about, I talk a lot about content, but cruise content integration. This is probably my favorite feature. I don't know if anyone else thinks the same way, but this is where you can easily put in some cabin information and it already has the information there for you. You put in a little bit about what you're looking for. If your clients have an idea, like maybe they like a certain cruise line and they know these dates. Not much to go off of, but by using Travefy's cruise import tool, you can find the right one for them a lot quicker and not have to spend as much time putting these quotes together, putting these itineraries together. If you are wondering a little bit of what these proposals and itineraries look like, it's going to look a bit like this. It's interactive. That's the biggest thing. Everything is online these days, and how do we make a proposal memorable? How do we make a quote memorable? Sometimes it can be that thing where it's a little awkward because you can maybe put pricing down. But how do we make this part of your workflow something that's enjoyable for both parties? Well, create proposals in Travefy. I'm a bit biased, if you couldn't tell, but I think it's a great way to include them in the planning process. Now, one of the big things that Travefy had done, I want to say this was back in December, if I'm remembering right, was decisions. This is where you can put proposals side by side, up to 3 different ones side by side that your clients can easily look into, cross compare, and decide right then and there which one they want to go with. If you have any forms you want them to fill out at this point, you can do that too. So if you need them to fill out a credit card authorization so you can get things booked and on their way, include the form in your decision. And I'm going to show you that here right now. So let's slide over. Nope, wrong one. I'm going to pull this guy up and we're going to go into trips. Now, here we have a Cynthia 2025 vacation. This is our homepage of Travefy, if you remember that from the very beginning. I'm going to click right on into it. And this is where I can add all the resources I need just for this trip alone. And for me, Cynthia here wants a couple of different options. She wants to look at an all-inclusive option, a river cruise option, and now she's telling me that she'd also be interested in an ocean cruise option. Totally fine with me. It's pretty easy to put together. So what I'll do is I'll select Add New at the bottom here. And ooh, I did not have this morning. We have supplier invoicing right here that got released. I'm not going to get distracted. Let's go ahead and create a proposal. I'm just going to create a brand new one with you guys. And I'm just going in and I'm clicking Edit. Now, this is a familiar place for a lot of you. So how do we pull in the cruise information? How does this all work? What I'm going to do is I'll select New Event. We're just on day 1. I haven't even entered in dates yet, but I want to show you how easy this is. We're doing New Event. She said Ocean Cruise. Great. This also goes for river cruises. I'll select Cruise, and we're going to get this pop-up window. This is where we can start to put in requirements or filters to help me find the right cruise for that client. So she's told me that she is a fan of Princess. Great. We'll do Princess Cruises. She also told me that she's looking at the month of May. Fine by me. I'm just going ahead. I'm entering in that date range. So we have 78 results now that we can go through. But she also told me that she'd love to do one out of Athens. I would love for her to do one out of Athens. So we're also putting in a departing port. So now we've got 5 results, and this is a lot more manageable for me. I'm just going to throw in a 7-day. I'm just grabbing it. And from here on the left-hand side is all the information we can choose to have come over. So if I want to include all of the accommodations, I can do that. If I only want to choose maybe 2 accommodation options, here's how we can do that. I'll deselect accommodations. It deselects everything in there then. And I can just easily grab a few quick ones. I can also click in and I can see a bit of the summary of information of what will come over. Mini suite, that sounds perfect. I'll also give her the option of a deluxe balcony. If there's anywhere that you don't want, say kids and teens, I'll deselect that section and none of that will come over for me. So let's say this all looks good. I'm going to import this all at once. I'll let it load and there we go. It's already created for me. We have departure times. We have a bit about the ports. If I continue to click into each one, you can see departure arrivals for some of these locations. If I go into the Sun Princess info, this is ship information. That's where I'm going to see those deck plans, a bit about the launch year. If she were to click into the accommodations area, we'll see all those details. But let's see what she actually is going to be seeing when I send this to her. If I preview it and I scroll down, here's those images. If I had more, she can scroll through it. If I want to look into a mini suite, all right, that description kind of matches what I'd be looking for. She can go into those photos, it blows up for her so she can see it easily. And again, the biggest thing is that it's interactive. Now, I could talk all day about some of the other features that I love about the proposal builder, the itinerary builder, but something quick that I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up in a decision. A decision, again, is where we can give different options to travelers for them to decide on their own which one they want to go with. So before I do that, let's put in some pricing. I'm going to be totally off on the pricing here, so please no judgment. I'm going to say $10,000. Let me know if that's a really great deal. Date, good. We'll call this Princess Cruise, and let's save our changes. Just did that quick so it looks a little bit more put together. And from here, we can wrap that up in a decision. We'll select Add New. And from here, similar to the library, we're going to see a list of resources that we can build into this one trip. Now, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to find Decision, which is there at the bottom. And I'm going to just choose up to 3 proposals that I want to offer. I'm going to just grab these 3. I'm going to select Create Decision. And from here, I can see what it's going to pretty much look like for her. If we had time, I would probably swap out the image of the person holding a plant in their hands. I would also look at adding in a summary. This is a great place to put your personal touch if you want to give your own personal recommendations, such as, "Hi, Cynthia, from our conversation, I think Xcaret Arte would be an amazing choice for you and what you're looking to do on your vacation." You could do the same for each one in here. Otherwise, if you're like me, you can just hit continue. That's up there at the top right if you didn't see that. It's just saying if I wanted to include a form, I could always do that too, but we're going to just continue to send. I'm going to send it to my client, Cynthia. We can choose to CC ourselves. You can also put more than just one traveler's name in here and address. I believe you can add up to 50. Eric can correct me if I'm wrong. And then I'm going to put in a saved message. Again, these are just little things that I hope you know that are available. We won't get too into it, but saved messages are messages that you can create ahead of time so you have the same type of conversation with every traveler. I'm just going to go proposal message. I'm going to send that email off. And from here, your client's going to be able to decide which one that they want to go with. You'll be notified, of course, and you'll be able to see that within the trip itself. So if I go back to trip, I can see I'm awaiting a response from Cynthia. If I need to resend the email, I can resend it to them. I can also preview it whenever I want. I can reshare it with other clients or reshare it with the same client if I wanted to. But again, Decisions is a way that you can make this process as memorable as possible and just display your options side by side, which just makes it easier for the client in a way. Now, I'm going to go, I almost went back to that same slide deck. Here we go. Last couple of things, trip management. So we've made it a long ways already, and you're probably wondering, oh my gosh, I knew Bonnie said that this was going to be a lot, but I did not believe her at first. But last couple of things. We've talked about the marketing process, how we can get leads with our forms, the CRM. We just saw how we can pull content really easily in for proposals and create decisions with them. So now, how do we hit it home? How do we make sure that even when they're on their trip and afterwards, our client remembers us? Well, we have a lot of different ways that they can actually access their itinerary. So they can access it on just a typical web link. That's completely fine. It updates automatically because it's the same link. You can also generate custom PDFs for them. Or what I love talking about is the mobile app. Just being able to say, I have a mobile app that you can use to view your itineraries in is a game changer, and use it as a selling point for yourself. So I'm going to throw Tracy in here quick. She used this for a group of 13. She wasn't able to go on the trip with them, but because she had the app, she could stay in contact really closely together with everyone on the group. And of course, everything updates automatically within the app for them. So they don't have to go find a new email. They don't have to try and refresh anything. It always updates in the app. So let's take a quick look at the app. I know you guys are probably thinking, okay, let's talk about this a little quicker. I swear, guys, this is going to be one that you'll want to take a look at. Now, Trip Plans is a landing page. I'm going to find my chat here, and I'm going to send it to everyone. Always love to do this, but Trip Plans is a landing page that you can absolutely send to your clients. This is something that they can just click into each section about. They can learn a bit more about everything. Big things here is those flight notifications. They get push notifications similar to this. They can also view all of their documents really easily, of course. It relies on Wi-Fi, so if they want to use the chat button, it's not going to just drum up a huge bill because they're international on this trip. It relies off of Wi-Fi. It's such a great way to stay involved. It also supports a group chat, so they can be in contact with one another. If you want to, mute those notifications, maybe the chat is just going off and you're getting a little FOMO from them, turn off your notifications for that. That doesn't bother them at all. They can still use it how they want. Now, if they scroll down to the bottom, they have step-by-step instructions with screenshots, which is so, so handy. But also just saying, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to our team, and we'd be happy to give you the 101. I know Eric is amazing at his trainings. He was actually just in Las Vegas at Travel Agent Forum, if any of you guys were able to catch us there. And I know that he had an awesome time just talking with everyone there as well. So who knows? You might get him. You might get some of our other friends on our support team. Oh, guys, I almost went right back to that same dang slide deck. Well, I'm not jumping into Travefy anymore, so we won't have to go through that. But just again, as a really quick look back, because we talked about so much. We talked about websites, landing pages, how you can utilize that in Travefy to put yourselves out there, put your services out there, putting forms on your landing page or even on your social media bios to get client information, have it funneled into your CRM, utilize automations, utilize those task lists in order to save a lot of time so you can expand your client base. But then also, how do we save more time on the back end of things? That's where all of our supplier integrations come in marketplace to create stunning proposals, as well as really beautiful itineraries that are going to stick with your clients. And so a couple of resources I just wanted to throw in there. By the way, you guys can kick back and relax now. Promise we won't go into the demo area until we have some questions. But our sales team is amazing. And I have had people on these webinars before who have their favorite sales rep, but these are really your guides during your free trial. So whenever you start your free trial, we'll reach out to you. You don't have to go looking for us at all, and we'll connect with you and see if you have any just questions right out the bat, if you want to set up a one-on-one. But really, guys, they're friendly. They are not like car salesmen. I've had my fair share of run-ins with car salesmen. These guys are really chill, and they want to make sure that you are finding a platform that's a good fit for where you're at. So, favorite slide to talk about, pricing. So we have an annual subscription. It's $35 a month. This is all in USD. This is going to get you every feature that we showed today. Now, I'm going to go over here really quick. We also offer quarterly and monthly plans. I did not have enough time to put in the information about the new travel agent program or the premium that we are beginning to offer early access to. So if you have questions on that, start your free trial. Our sales team will reach out to you and you can ask them more about those programs. But we want to make sure that no matter where you're at in your career, you're finding a subscription that really works well for you right now. And if I haven't mentioned it, I'm looking at this. Every subscription plan is going to get you the same features, at least the three that are on here. New travel agent program and premium are a little bit different. But I think, whew, that's it. This is the last slide. I'm going to start taking a look at some questions. But Stephanie, I'm not sure if you're there.
I'm here. I don't know if oh yeah, my camera's not going to want to like me right now. Let me change this here. Um so sorry everybody. I have been behind the scenes making sure everything's working for you guys, but I know that there were a lot of questions here. Let me see. I know Eric's been going to town doing some as well. Well, here's a question really quick from Matthew that I'm seeing is, can decisions be viewed on the mobile app?
That is a great question. So, one is that whenever it's in the proposal quote stage process, you will not be able to view that on the mobile app. So, and I'm glad, Eric, you're here because feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Again, Eric's on our awesome support team and he has been nailing away at these questions. But we don't want to have proposals put into something like the app so it's easier for them as the traveler to take with them. In worst case scenario, they were to ghost you. We don't want them to be able to take your work, book things themselves, or even worse, go to another advisor and have them book that proposal that you created. So long story short, proposals, decisions, anything in the quote process won't be viewable on their mobile app. So I hope that explains things a bit better there.
Yeah, it's important. You don't want them to take that and run with it. But the one nice thing though is they can still view it like on their phone, which is good too.
Yes.
One person had asked, like, I couldn't find the supplier invoicing. Where exactly do I find it? Because it's brand spanking new. And
Yes.
could you show one more time where that is? Sorry, making you move your
Absolutely.
screen around some more.
No, this is, I'm just trying to make sure I don't go back to the wrong slide deck. How embarrassing. But I'm going to go right back here. And if anyone needs that QR code, just let me know. But you should be able to just go to travefy.com and start your free trial there. So let's actually take a little bit of time. I'm taking a look. We've got less than 10 minutes. So with the supplier invoicing, where you will find that, and I did that a little quick, is in your trip itself. So this is where you can add your forms in. You can create your decisions. You can add in planning fees if you need to. That's where it says fee invoice. What has just been released was the supplier invoice feature. So, I mean, why not? Let's click into it. This is what it's going to show as. And let's just say that this is Cynthia's cruise payment plan. And down here at the bottom, and let's minimize that screen so you can see it all a bit easier. Work your way from top to bottom. That is typically the easiest way to learn anything in Travefy and create anything in Travefy, at least my personal preference and experience. But you can start to put in your item name. So if this is for, let's call it our cruise payment plan, we could say it's one quantity, or if this is for a hotel payment, or if this is a cruise deposit and you have two travelers and they both need to do two payments, you can up that quantity, of course. What is the total price? Let's say that it's $2,000 for the payment plan. You know, again, such a steal for a cruise if I'm telling you anything. And from there, it's going to total everything up for you. Now, I'm going a little off course, so hopefully you don't mind me spending a bit of time doing the supplier invoicing. You guys are kind of like my guinea pigs in a way on how I'm going to be talking about this feature. But the next thing that I'm going to do is, let's say that we do have a payment schedule that we want. Let's say that I'm going to just say use payment schedule. They got $2,000 to pay off. I'm going to call this payment 1. And let's add another installment. I'm going to split it up into 2 payments for them just because I'm that nice. I'm going to have it split up into 2 different payments of $1,000. And it's going to give me a little error there if I go over the total. And we'll say due date wise, you know what, May 9th, and then that due date can be the 16th. And there we go. So I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully you guys can see this even better now. I know some of my Facebook friends, you might not be seeing this super great, but feel free to yell at me. Cruise payment, got a payment plan. What's the total? It's $2,000, really cheap cruise. I'm going to split this up into 2 payments for them. Payment 1 is due May 9th in a total of $1,000. Payment 2, $1,000 as well, just due May 16th. You have full control over those due dates as you saw. Everything just needs to total up to that $2,000. We total everything up for you so you don't have to have your calculator whipped out as well. You can also put in your terms and conditions. I recommend doing this. 1, it looks professional, and 2, that just helps protect you more. Third thing is attachments area. If you want to personally put in an attachment for, I don't even know, the cruise payment plan, you can attach any documents and you can attach multiple documents to this. When you're ready to send this out, 1, you can preview it. Anything that you send out to a client, you can typically preview before you do it. But now I'm gonna hit send. And this kind of looks familiar. We try and keep the same format for everything so it doesn't feel like you're having to learn 5 new things whenever we do feature releases. Typically, whenever you send something out, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to send it to Cynthia. She hasn't even made a decision on her proposal yet, but I'm already sending her a cruise payment plan. And if you have any messaging from your saved messages that you'd like, I saw someone who uses saved messages and loves it. I love that for you guys. Send the email off. They'll be able to receive that email. They'll see what they need to authorize right then and there. But I promise you, the preview looks pretty dang similar to what they receive. Go in, this is your sign, go into your account after this session and try this out. You can send it to your personal email if you want to. That is typically what most people will do. Otherwise, heck, send it to a friend and see if they authorize a $2,000 payment for you out of nowhere. But they'll be able to see where they put in their card information. They'll sign off on your terms and conditions with an electronic signature, of course. And from there, they'll just be able to come back here, or you can just resend it to them later if they were to lose this link at any point. But I went off on a little bit of a tangent, Stephanie.
Totally fine. Yeah.
I'm super excited about this.
I know, it's pretty cool. It's so nifty. But I do have one final question because I know this one comes in a lot about websites. So someone had asked, they have a website through somewhere else. So like, can they still integrate? And so I think like sometimes there can be confusion with how do I integrate it with Travefy? And you can, because what you would do is you'd create, well, I'll let you explain like how you can create and then you just link the links together basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my page builder here, and let's actually find an all-inclusive one. We'll grab this. Let's say that this is just a standalone page. Once again, this is just a single page, but I want to be able to link this onto my main website. So when people go to my main website that I've had for years, I want them to be able to click into a button that says all-inclusive promotional going on right now. Something of that nature. And I want them to be able to come to this page. What you can do, and let me go ahead. I actually need to publish this. I'll hit publish. It's going to generate for you a URL. From here, you can copy that URL. I'm just in my edit page settings, by the way. Grab your URL, and in your main website company where you host currently, you should be able to set up a button that goes to this link. I think that's pretty standard across all website builders. That's really what you would do in here. But same way in Travefy, if you want to connect back to your homepage, you can select Add Item. Let's just select a button. And if I want this to go to my home website, I'm just going to grab Gilbert. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to grab your URL that you put into the chat. I want it to go to this right here. I'll call it home. It's really just a matter of deciding what do you want that button to do. You want it to go to that external link, which is your home page website. This is also a great opportunity for me to show off Gilbert's website. So I'll click publish. And when I click that home button, it takes me right over to wherever that external link is. So Gilbert, you have a great website.
Cool. Look at that.
If you need some advice on how to set up a landing page, I think Gilbert is probably a great resource for you. So
it's so cool. I love it. So it's cool seeing what users create. I love that.
Yes. And, let me see. Ooh, 2 minutes left. All right, guys. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your question, but I want to make sure you know how to get to templates.
Important.
Marketplace. That's the one that we didn't really touch on. That is where you can find all of this free content that you can download to your Travefy account, which I recommend doing if you're just starting out or if you know you want to bulk up your library. Go into training camp bonus content. We'll click show more. I'm just going to refresh this page really quick. And this is where you can find all sorts of templates. I see Morgan, actually, she is going to be on the next, not the next session,
Yes.
this evening, 4 p.m. session.
4 p.m. Central. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to
Her
be fun.
stuff is so good. So I'm glad to see, Morgan, that you have put some of your own templates in here. But website templates are going to be found in here, form templates. If you know you want to work on your workflow, you can find that in here. If you want to get started with Disney stuff, we have it in here. So take a look, scroll through, explore around a little bit. But all right, I've done a whole hour of yapping. So thanks for sticking with me through all of this. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But thank you, Stephanie, Eric, and everyone who was able to join, whether you were on Zoom or on Facebook Live, for just hanging out with us. But we'll see you in the next one. It's not too long from now.
We'll see you soon again.
Amazing, but
Thanks, everyone.
see you guys later.